Good evening. This is Duane Lowry for the DPP Grain Desk on Sunday, September 22nd. It's currently 2:30 in the afternoon. The outlook for tonight is going to be based largely on a weak performance Friday and the week in general. That'll lean the markets a little bit lower here tonight. Trader sentiment remains very bearish, exceptionally bearish, and in my opinion, far too bearish. But they've got the momentum, and that's the default setting that we have just about every day we walk in here, and that's where we're going to be at tonight. Weather outlook, I don't think weather has any day-to-day impact on the grain markets at the present time. Really didn't last week, and I don't think it does now, and I don't think it will until or unless we have some sort of a harvest delay situation. The 2-week outlook has limited precip for the Midwest. Generally favorable conditions to allow harvest to expand in areas that are ready to harvest. Harvest is underway in some locations, but we're barely gotten a start. Most harvest results that have occurred so far have come from areas that really haven't been that stressed. A few fields could be found in the western areas that have been suffering from late plantings and dryness, and then heat problems along with dryness in August. A few fields have been harvested. Corn yields have been a little bit less than expected. Bean yields have been disappointing, but not necessarily a surprise to those who have been looking at pod counts and general health of the soybean plant during the last 2 or 3 weeks. But we've barely gotten started. We need to get more yield data from the combine for the marketplace to develop some type of consistent belief about what the yield trends are. I feel strongly that yields are going to be proved to be disappointing in the western areas, especially in the beans, but that remains to be seen. The marketplace has got, like I said, it has a very bearish mindset. At some point in time, the people who are currently short corn are going to have to find somebody else to come in and sell it so they can get out of their positions. I don't know where that selling is going to come from. I don't think the technical makeup entices people to establish new short positions. I think the producer is normally the one expected to provide the selling at this time of the year and save the people who sold it during the growing season in anticipation of cheaper prices. The producer comes into the harvest season this year looking at the cheapest cash prices he's seen since 09 and 10 for the marketing season. I don't think that makes him extremely excited to make sales. If yield reports from the combine, if the producer feels the yields are disappointing, that also is not going to make him inclined to be a seller. The producer has ample storage space. Most people are empty. Most elevators are on the low end of inventory versus normal. And I think you've got no problems with storage space to try to put the crop away. Producer financial positions are solid. They've either got no need to borrow money, or they've got the capacity to borrow ample money if they decide to keep bushels off the market. So you got a lot of things stacking up here that will make the producer a tight-fisted holder, a limited seller during the harvest season, and I think all of this added together sets up a scenario where the market could have a significant short covering phase at some point in time during the next several weeks. As we get into harvest, we find the producer not selling, and I think we're going to find yields somewhat disappointing. The bean fundamental storyline is easier to craft a bullish scenario just based on the fact that it doesn't take much of a further loss of yield from the last USDA projection, which seems very possible to me that we can get further yield declines. It doesn't take much of a decline to get a carry-out scenario for beans that's historically very tight, and the marketplace will depend on a big South American crop to justify current prices or justify lower prices, as some people think is ultimately coming. All this leads to a scenario where I think you have better selling opportunities in the weeks ahead than what you've got now. Remember, the soybean market rallied about $2.50, and so right now we're on about an 85, 95 cent setback from the price peaks made earlier this month. I think that the weakness we've had in the last several days has been corrective in nature. I don't believe it's set up that it's beginning a downtrend and pushing to further trending lower in the next several weeks. I don't think that's the setup, and I don't think we have the fundamental justification for such a move. The corn's a little bit more difficult to build a fundamental bullish scenario, but I think that you've still got a cash market that's strong. You've got a likelihood that the cash market will remain strong and the producer will have limited selling interest, and you got a futures market that's saturated with short positions. They're pressing very hard, and I don't think you're going to get the selling to justify maintaining these type of price levels. So some sort of a corrective rally is set for in corn. I think it's not unreasonable to believe that such a rally can take values back to the peaks we had 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I think there's plenty of opportunity for improved pricing opportunities. I think that producers should view the recent weakness as temporary, not view it as something that they better get on board and quick make sales in fear of even lower values. I don't think that's the right approach. I do believe it is correct that producers need to be looking for selling opportunities on rallies, but I think those definition of rallies would have to be something back towards the peaks that we saw already in August and September in corn, and something towards the high or a new high in the beans, and then I think you've got some legitimate selling opportunities, but not at current values. So look for markets to start a little bit weaker just because, but I'm not willing to embrace short positions here, whether it's a producer with hedges or whether it's a speculator. I think you've got better opportunities ahead. For the DPP Grain Desk, this is Duane Lowry. Thank you.